We have recording. We're probably going to get interrupted by children who just arrived home from school. But in the meantime,
Welcome to being an entrepreneur, right?
hello, and a mommy person. Hi, people who are watching in the future because you're not here now. Welcome. I say it because it cracks Naomi up every show. So welcome to Leela and Naomi's Big Asks, because that's also fun to say. And we're gonna actually keep it short this week because we both have places to go. And I'm gonna start with the fun thing that happened to me on Saturday. So, fun fact, I have like 5 jobs, and one of the most consistent, no, it's not the most consistent one anymore. One of them is that I'm a librarian, and I work 1 weekend a month. And this past weekend was my 1 weekend's work. And I had plans to shove my evening full of stuff on top of that. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get off work. I'm going to go feed the children, and then I'm going to go to Koya, and then I'm going to go to this networking event in the evening. And I got off work, and I was like, that's just stupid. So I'd all gotten excited about meeting my friend for Koya, and she was like, I was like, so how do you feel about picking me up? Like, I'll pay for Koya if you pick me up. Because mostly I just didn't want to have to drive back on Sunday to get my car, which would have had to be left in St. Louis because we were out till 2 a.m. Sunday morning. I'm not driving anywhere after 9 p.m. It's just not happening. So, short version of the potentially long fun story is that we didn't go to Koya, but she did pick me up. And that meant that I didn't have to figure out how to get my car anywhere or from anywhere. So that was really awesome and really out of my normal, because I tend to take the hard route. Oh, I'll just do it myself. So I basically asked my friend to drive 90 minutes just to pick me up. And she said, sure, no problem.
Sweet.
I know.
That's so funny to me for all sorts of other reasons that may spiral us into an asking topic and boundary setting. But go ahead. How did it feel to ask that of someone and say, I'm not feeling the driving. Can you come get me?
Well, that actually was not too horrible because we were essentially going to the same location. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I got your oils.
Bribery with oils, okay.
And she'd placed an order and they were at my house. So we were gonna do the oils exchange over this Koya experience. And I was like, well, I have your oils, but I don't feel like Koya. So how about I just meet you somewhere in the city and give you your oils? And then I realized I still gotta drive my ass to St. Louis. I was like, I might not go to that networking event at all tonight. Because I'm like, well, I got to do it all by myself. And so let's just make it easy on me because I'm in the middle of a 9-day stretch right now, really a month-long stretch, because the VA work means that I've been working every single day. And then she was like, Koya means I have to put clothes on. I don't think I want to.
Love it.
And then she was like, but I'll come pick you up and we can go have food. Okay, sure.
Sounds even better, right?
Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, my body was really looking forward to Koya, but the imperative part of this piece was I don't have to figure out how to get my car back from St. Louis on Sunday. Mm-hmm. That was the most important part, because there was like grocery shopping. I was like, if I leave my car in St. Louis, then I need it early enough so that I can go grocery shopping before I go to work. Otherwise, the children can't eat. Yeah, it was just a whole bunch of how can I not drive tonight?
And how one ask simplified like an entire 2 days.
And I got to try fried beets.
You tried what?
Fried beets.
Beet. B-E-E-T. Beet.
Yes.
Fried.
Yes.
Huh. Never had it that way. I like me some beets, though. You know I like my beets, so.
And meanwhile, I don't like my beets. So this is a pleasant experience.
Oh, good. Now,
So I
were
like
they
fried and I like them pickled.
so fried like you get fried zucchini where it's breaded and that kind of thing fried, or
Like sweet potato fries,
oh, so like,
but with beets.
yeah, breaded and fried.
Maybe.
Because sweet potato fries are breaded a little bit typically.
Okay, cool. I've never had sweet potato fries.
They're good.
I like my sweet potatoes the other ways, so it never occurred to me to try them as fries.
Well, and they're certainly typically, unless you're talking the Thanksgiving dish with marshmallows on it, they're typically healthier the other ways than fried.
Yeah,
so
I usually bake them and then eat them out of their skin. Or I will peel them and dice them and roast them.
Yes. Oh God, yum.
Now
I'm hungry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Leela and Naomi make Naomi hungry. I think that's the new name of this call. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So what was there some big aha or learning in that experience of asking?
I wanted to share because I found it interesting how easy it was to ask her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really curious. Is it because she's one of my longest friendship relationships?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because I was offering her something in return? Because I was like, I will pay for your Koya class, or I will give you the tiny bottle of oil for free, or whatever.
So then maybe the question is, what would it have been like to simply ask without the feeling of having it to be an exchange? Or was there something about it that made having it be an exchange feel more in integrity?
There was a little bit of both involved.
Okay.
We always experience life from our perspective.
Sure.
So from my perspective, if I were asking somebody to drive 90 minutes to hang out with me, I probably, or if someone were asking me, I'd probably want there to be an incentive other than my company or their company. So that was part of it. But I also think that part of it is just like, this person is like family to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that also made it easier, because my mom and my ex-husband, like, I have no problem asking them for anything. But people who are not family, I have greater challenges asking.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps it's the fact that, we've had this almost 20-year friendship and she is like family, that I'm like, hey, so pick me up. I don't want to go.
Right. Right. And were you attached to the outcome? That's another.
I was not attached to the outcome. Yeah. No. Like, I was willing to scrap the entire evening.
Well, and that might be a piece for her too, is like, if I'm trying to think, okay, who lives 90 minutes away? Well, we'll use Janice or Jenny B, because they're both about 90 minutes away. And if either of them said, hey, I know we said we were going to do this thing and it's at a specific time, can you come down and pick me up? If it was down in their neck of the woods, okay, but if I had to drive an hour and a half to pick them up to come back here and then take them back, I'd be like, I would probably end up, depending on what it was, being like, can't you Uber?
Well, it was 45 minutes in each direction, so it was 90
Oh.
minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that's a little bit different
a little bit.
because 45 minutes, that's the rabbit hole that conversation would take me down as far as asking. And I think not being attached to the outcome, and for her, and I'm putting myself in her shoes, how would I feel? It's like, if I really want to spend that time with somebody, 45 minutes is not a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, if it means, well, I have something planned after, and so that's going to be a problem, well, then it's probably let's look at a different date. But it doesn't sound like that was the instance or the case at all.
No, like her body had no interest in Koya.
Right.
And she wanted to hang out, and we haven't hung out in a while. And so that was the solution.
That tends to trump everything.
The body?
No, the hanging out with somebody that you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, for sure. And
like,
I was just like,
I don't care what we go do.
Regularly.
What's that?
Huh?
What was that last part?
Oh, I said, I was just like, we need to do this regularly, because she lives like 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away. But our schedules are now where we don't get to see each other that frequently anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll work.
It's hard when you're working 5 jobs.
It is.
So.
And awesome. When you don't like to drive.
Well, right. And I totally get that. And that's a piece, I think this is a great topic. When I lived in a tiny town of 5,000, I could walk across town in 15 minutes, a slight exaggeration. Maybe it took me half an hour, but it's small. Living in the area that I live in, where it's a lot more populated, like you, to get to St. Louis takes you 45 minutes. For me to get to San Diego takes me about an hour and a half. Orange County, parts of Orange County I can get to in an hour. And the place that I do most of my business is about 25, 30 miles from where I live. So it takes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, depending on traffic and time and everything. And it's like, every time I turn around, people are like, "Ooh, I want to get together and do a networking coffee with you." That's great. I'm all for that, because that's how you build relationships, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, well, can you meet at blah, blah, blah?" Pick your whatever local coffee shop you want to. And it's like, yeah, I'm not down in Temecula that day. So I'd be happy to meet you. And we can do it up here where I live. And everybody's like, "Oh, well, let's look at a different day then." And it used to be that I'd be like, "Okay, no, I'll make it work." And I'd jump through all these hoops, and I'd spend the gas money and drive down there on days I'm not typically down there. And I'm down there 2 days for sure every week, and usually a third. Mm-hmm. So there's time to do them then. Or if you want us to really cater to your schedule, then we're going to have to cater to my location if it's not. I've gotten really clear on the boundary setting, and it used to be that I didn't feel like I could ask people from Temecula to drive up here, which part of it is because they think that coming up here, you have to plan a whole weekend trip. And I'm like, oh my God, people, it's 26 miles. I do it multiple times a week. You can do it, and it was like that when I lived in San Jose. People from the city, which was San Francisco, didn't like driving downtown, which was San Jose. "Oh, you live all the way down there? Can't you come up to the city? Does your car have one of those things that they put on shopping carts where you can't go past the edge of the parking lot?" So I've gotten a lot better about asking. I used to feel really guilty about, "Oh God, people in Temecula don't like driving up here. Would you be able to meet me?" Kind of like you asking, "Can I have a bag at the dollar store?" Give me a bag. I would like a bag, please. May I please have a bag?
Will you please put that in a bag for me? Thanks.
Yeah. that in a bag, please? Awesome. You rock. I rock. And I've come to realize that it's okay to ask for people to come up here.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they don't want to come up here, and for a while it was like, oh, well, I'll meet you halfway. Well, the only place that's really halfway is really more like 3/4 of the way, 80% of the way. So I might as well just freaking drive down there. So it's like, if you want to do it that day, if you are attached to that day, that is great. And here's where I will be. I've gotten a lot better. So I'm finding that the asking also sometimes comes with where we have or haven't set boundaries, at least for myself.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more.
Well, because for me, a boundary was when I do all the driving,
Mm-hmm.
I get resentful. And I'm like, I don't like driving that much. Says the girl who drove from Southern California to Seattle a few years ago. But that was different. But I don't love driving. I don't love doing 25-mile drive every single day. It's like, no, that's part of why I work for myself, so I don't have to commute, right? And it builds resentment if I have to do it every time and people are unwilling to come up here. Like, you say you value the relationships, but you won't do it. And that just builds resentment for me. And I recognize that's my issue. That's my crap.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do we solve that? Well, part of that is setting a boundary and owning my calendar. Yes, I want to do these one-to-ones. I want to build the relationships. That's how I get to know people. That's why you and I have connected and are friends, because we took the time to build a relationship.
Yeah. I
Leela
stopped
lives where it's
fangirling you.
yes, yeah. It's like this whole fangirl Facebook crush crap, in the coaching and healer world. Okay, great. Let's just get to know each other. She lives where it snows. I live where it doesn't. It's a long ways away. And so we're obviously not going to sit down at a coffee shop, but we've still built that relationship. And I see it as the same kind of thing. It's just locally. And how important is that relationship to you? And so I'm definitely recognizing that. For me, my boundaries are, I get to own my calendar. I don't have to cater to everyone else's calendar. I can cater to mine. And it's okay to do that. I have permission. It's actually a really good thing, especially since a lot of what I teach is owning your calendar, because that's what eliminates the I don't have time to grocery shop. I don't have time to cook. I don't have time. It eliminates that when we can own our calendar. So I started having to set that boundary. And that's what it felt like at first, was having to set it instead of, woohoo, oh, yep, there's a message. Instead of getting to set the boundary, getting to own my calendar, getting to revel is the word that wants to come up. Revel in that.
Yeah.
It was like this, what are they going to think? Nobody's going to drive up here. Well, today, one of the things I'm doing is I'm having a one-to-one coffee with someone up here where I live. Guess what I did last week? I had a coffee up here where I lived. And it worked out great. Now, that particular individual, his office is up here. He's like, I can totally meet you up there. I'm not in the office every day, but yeah, that's fine. A lot of people, I'm finding that the more I ask, I did it yesterday. I'm collaborating with an acupuncturist and a woman who's involved in the hemp industry, hemp oil, I love. And we're doing a live in-person local workshop. So we had a planning meeting, and every planning meeting has taken place at the acupuncturist's office, which is fine, but it's an even farther drive for me. And so we want to get together again next week to kind of hammer out, a few of the last minute loose ends before we really hit the marketing thing hard with it and get that filled. And I was like, that's great. You want to do such and such a time. I can do that time, but I need to do it at my office next week then. And they were like, okay. Oh my God. It was that easy. I just asked. I had this assumption, and I recognized that drive is not as big of a drive between my office and her office as my office and my home. but I'm recognizing it's okay to ask. And if somebody doesn't want to do that drive, because I have a lot of people go, oh, I didn't know you lived up there. Yep.
Now you know.
Now you know. Oh, well, how about a different day then? What about such and such? Great. These are the days I'm in Temecula. So if you're wanting to avoid the drive, those are the days we get to look at.
Yeah.
And it's become easier to do that the more I've held to that. And I really had to look at why am I, and sometimes I am willing to jump through hoops, you know, depends on what it's for and what my schedule looks like and where it falls on my priority list. And I think that's true for most of us. But I've had to look at, okay, so why am I willing to jump through hoops when I'm unwilling to even ask something simple like, yeah, can you meet me at such and such a coffee shop off of, you know, Central and the 15? Oh, you live up there? Yep, sure do. I jumped through hoops, but I wasn't willing to ask the other person to do that same thing. It's like, time to give myself the priority as much as I give other people.
I was just going to ask what changed.
Yeah, it's being willing to, and yes, while I do a lot of business in Temecula and a lot of people's offices are down there and blah, 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 and my office is down there. Okay. And, you know, my time is as valuable as anybody else's.
Ding,
and
ding.
that's a big part of what I had to get to is my time's just as valuable. And it's okay to say, you know what, I'd love to get together with you on a Monday afternoon. And I'm working from home that day, so I would have to meet you here or here. Ooh, no, that doesn't work. And not being attached to them saying, yay, yeah, I'll drive up there. And letting go of that, well, they're not willing to drive. No, I had to let go of that as well. Great. That doesn't work for them. It's not convenient. I get it. So let's look at a Tuesday or Thursday when I am in Temecula.
Yeah.
So it just, I had to let go of the attachment piece, I think was also part of it. Attached to people being willing to do the drive as well, to put the importance on seeing me on the days that worked for me or the location that worked for me. No, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Let your yes be your yes and your no be your no.
The best advice I've ever gotten in my whole life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more I live that, the more I'm like, ooh, how much better than this does it get?
Right?
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that was my adventuring with the asking, like what you're saying, asking for something that is really seemingly simple. And for me, it was a big part of it was the not being attached to the outcome and knowing that there were other solutions. Great. Find a different solution.
Going to bed early would have been a great solution for Saturday.
My guess is you had fun, though.
I had a blast. I had the best time ever. And I was sleep deprived on Sunday. My allergies kicked into full force, and I left work early because, I could not people anymore. One of my coworkers was going to get thrown down the stairs. And so I was like, I'm going home.
Which, knowing what you know about it's spring, spring is the wood element, wood governs liver, liver impacts allergies, liver on the Chinese medicine clock is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. and you didn't go to bed till 2. It all makes sense, right?
And I still haven't ordered my mushrooms.
That's all right. We'll chat. We'll chat. We'll make it happen.
We will. I'm amused. But yeah, my liver is just like, really? You're just going to ignore me like this?
Oh, yeah. Mine is just like, it's spring. So, yeah. I will be doing a Zoom class on that.
Please text me those details because I need that in my life right now.
I will. I think I'm going to call it what to do when your liver is like, we're going to feel bitchy. Because that's how I'm feeling right now. Super crab. Welcome to spring.
I love it.
So, awesome. All right. I want to respect our time because you have a thing and I have a coffee up by where I live. Oh, so excited.
Yeah, I get to go play with books.
Oh, nerd out on books, man. That's so awesome.
Like, how did I get so lucky?
I know.
I get paid to read books, recommend books, order books. Even the fact that I get paid to discard books that are ancient in our collection makes me happy. We had a bathroom book from 1985. Nobody is making bathrooms this color anymore. Nobody. We don't need that book in our collection. So now
hold on to it long enough, that color will come back around.
I'm sure it will in about 100 years. But now I'm on a scavenger hunt for what is the oldest book that we own that we can get rid of.
Oh my God, that's so fabulous.
Yeah. So far it was a business book from 1982.
Yeah, business and how to do it has changed a little bit since then.
A little bit.
Yeah. The tiniest smidgen.
Yeah. So thank you, people, for watching in the future. Do we have? I love how it cracks her up when I say that.
It really does. It makes me laugh.
But they will be here in the future.
They will be here in the future.
It'll be the future when they're watching this. Do you have an adventure to send them on this week?
I kind of like this whole idea of looking at, are there places where you're willing to do stuff that you're unwilling to ask someone else to do? Like drive to meet you for a coffee or come pick you up when there's an event? Is there something that you would be willing to do yourself, or like I was doing, jumping through hoops to do, but you're unwilling to ask another person the same in return? And if so, are you willing to go ask that this week?
Yes, please tell us in the comments. I like that adventure. That sounds like a fun adventure.
Yeah. Always an opportunity to explore. And if you're like, yeah, I don't think there is anything, look at your resentments. Because my guess is that's where they live.
It is. Yep.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear what adventures people go on. I feel like it's a little bit like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. So, woohoo.
I love that. I totally love that. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Ciao.